You will live longer and you'll be happier if you do the things and take the time through study, through being in rooms like this with people who are doing things bigger, better, faster than you are, through staying physically fit. CrossFit is hard work. I'm like one of the oldest guys in the gym. I scale everything, right? I don't care. There's women who can lift like twice as much as me. Like, don't look around what everyone else is doing and try to do what they're doing. Like, try to be a little bit better every single day yourself. Put yourself first. If you ever have any emotional baggage about that, reach out to me. I will help you with this. The world needs you, and the world needs you to be good.
Welcome to the Renegade Lawyer Podcast, the show where we ask the questions, why aren't more lawyers living flourishing lives and inspiring others? And can you really get wealthy while doing only the work you love with people you like? Many lawyers are. Get ready to hear from your host, Ben Glass, the founder of the law firm Ben Glass Law in Fairfax, Virginia, and Great Legal Marketing, an organization that helps good people succeed by coaching, inspiring, and supporting law firm owners. Join us for today's conversation.
So let me give you my thesis first, because if you don't buy the thesis, you don't agree with the philosophy, there's more chocolate cake out there. You can leave, come back for an hour, and that won't hurt my feelings at all. So I don't tell people how to run their lives. But what I do is I give them ideas about how they can have a more fruitful, productive, and happy life, and then find out where they are on this range, and oftentimes I can help them. So here's the thesis. None of us have any control over who we were born to, where we were born, and under what circumstances we were born. Zero control over that. We have a moderate amount of control over how many years we have on the earth, right? Through your life habits, barring some real horrible accident, we have control over that. By the way, me and a bunch of my friends are reading Dr. Peter Attia's book called Outlive. You get to be my age, you start paying attention to the longevity books. Right? Now, between the time you're born and the time you breathe your last breath on earth, it's a one-way journey. Right? It is meant to be lived for your own happiness. We don't get do-overs. We don't have to live a struggling, hard life. We make choices to try to maximize for maximum fulfillment and happiness. I believe that's your moral duty. I believe that that serves the world. If you're a Christian, I believe that this is what God wants us to do. And so and again, when I say that, some people go, well, no, I don't believe it. Oh, great, okay, fine. You don't have to listen. I don't care. But I believe that this is true. And so many lawyers, right, are living lives of misery. And I help people solve for maximum happiness. Now, and when you started your session this morning, Richard, one of the things you did is you all talked quite appropriately about gratitude. So let me just tell you my morning habit. So first thing, get up in the morning, I download my data off of my Whoop, right? And I'm in a bunch of groups with CrossFitters, with soccer referees, with GLM, Great Legal Marketing members. Like, we're comparing the data, right? And as Andreas will tell you, like, it's lowered the amount of alcohol consumption, right? Because alcohol does bad shit to your body, and your Whoop tells you about it. But after I download that and kind of analyze it a little bit and take a measure of where I am physically, I'm a journalist. I'm a journaler. I use the self-journal. It is really cool to be able to go back and read your own thoughts from 2, 3, 5 years ago and see how far you come. So if you're not a journaler, and I'm a paper and ink guy, right? It's a recommendation. I'm not telling you have to do it. It's a recommendation. But the first prompt every morning is, today I'm grateful for. And today I wrote this morning when I got up and came down here. Some of you came and talked to me early in the morning. Number one, the pilot who got me here from Charlotte. By the way, if you go to my LinkedIn or my Facebook profile, you see a video of this pilot, a guy who's putting positive energy into the world. Like, I am grateful that I can get on an airplane and fly safely. I don't have to worry about anything. Like, it's going to happen. It's going to be safe. Number two, the people who serve us in the hotel. How many of you noticed that last night, the folks who were here during karaoke and drinking and wining and dining were the same folks? I came down about 6:15, 6:30. They're the same folks who are working here. Lawyers need to stop whining about our lives, okay? Our lives are not hard. Their lives are hard. We work in air-conditioned buildings. We make money with our brain. In the summer, we can turn on or in the winter, we can turn on the heater, all right? Stop whining about how hard it is to be a lawyer, because we have easy lives. The people who are serving us, schlepping our luggage, serving the food, they have hard lives. Your clients, most of them have hard lives because they're not making money with their brains sitting in air-conditioned offices all day. So can we agree? Stop whining about that. Tip with generosity, right? Hopefully one of your life habits is when you leave here, you leave some money on the table for the folks who are picking up your room after you, right? Tip with generosity. And the third thing I wrote is gratitude for Richard for inviting me here. Because it is fun for me to get out of the office and to be able to talk to you, because you are the 1%ers. How many people here have been to a Ben Glass event, right? Keep your hand up if you've been to an R. John Robbins event. Keep your hand up if you've been to a PILMA event, or you've gone to Chris or something else, some other thought leader guru in the legal space. Put your hand up, all right? A fair amount, but not enough. You need to get out into other rooms, right? A lot of times when I'm out of a big event, as a spectator, as a participant, not as a leader, I'm thinking, oh my God, everybody's ahead of me. Everybody knows all the newest technology. I was at an event in January, guys talking on stage about spending $50,000 promoting a TikTok video, one TikTok video. I'm thinking, oh my God, I'm never gonna be able to compete. And what we forget is, all of us combined who are at these events is probably 3% of the solo and small firm lawyers in the country. So you are the 1%. You are figuring out how to serve your own life first, make yourself happy, how to build a place where people love coming to work and they get energy out of coming to work in your office. Because if one is true, you're happy and your family's happy. Number two is true, your team is happy and your clients will be served. Now, what the legal profession does wrong, in my view, is they put the client first, the client on top. When my son, Brian, who I'm in practice with, graduated from law school now many years ago, retired Supreme Court Justice Sandra Day O'Connor's up there. She's giving her talk, and she's giving her, God bless her, you have a new master. You are now the slave of the client. And I'm sitting there, and Brian's sitting there going, no way. That's miserable. If you're a slave, that's a miserable life. You need to be the master of your own life because it serves you, it's morally right, but it helps society when you are spiritually, morally, financially, physically happy and fit and able to attract people to your law firm who love coming into work. So that's what I do. That's what I want to talk about. That's my guys. I'll talk a little bit more in a minute. Yes, we do have 9. We have fostered some 60 puppies at different times in our lives. And they're all doing, I've spoken to a number of you while I've been here. I've sent 7 children to 6 different Virginia universities. They've all been the right place for the right kid. And some of them are doing stuff they never studied in university. So for heaven's sakes, let's stop stressing about where we're going to send our kids to colleges and why are we spending 3 to 5x to send somebody out of state, indebting them when you don't really have to do that anymore. So how many of you have read Building a Story Brand? Oh, come on. Richard, this is a freaking marketing group, right? Of course you have. All right. You got to put this on your list. Get Peter Attia's book, Outlive, get StoryBrand. StoryBrand is about this. It's a general business book, but let's just make it for lawyers. Most lawyers think, I'm the hero. I get you all the money you deserve. I get you out of jail. I solve your financial problems through bankruptcy. I do your estate planning. I'm the hero. This book says, screw that. No, the client is the hero. Again, the client is the one that has a hard life, right? In my space, I'm a total contingent fee. 99% of our revenues or from PI auto or from ERISA, long-term disability and life insurance claims, stuff like that, right? So it means all of my clients are injured or sick, going through hard times, right? I'm not the hero. They're the hero. We take that, and now to the outside world, part of our branding is, hey, I'm not a PI lawyer, but we're helping heroes, the client, tell their stories to skeptical insurance companies. That's our brand. That's our outward-facing reason for being. But what I'm going to talk to you about here for a few minutes is this. Because we're in a closed room of lawyers, right? So we're not talking about outside marketing today. But what I want to get you to appreciate is you are the hero. Not because you're a lawyer. Now, I'm speaking to the business owners, but because you're a small business owner. You take all of the risk, right? Yes, hopefully you make all of the money, but sometimes for all of us, like everyone has been on this journey where everyone else in the firm made more money than you did. I've had years long ago where it was like negative. Everybody else got paid and Ben borrowed like to keep the thing going when I didn't know what the heck I was doing. So I want to hold you up as heroic. You hire people, they pay taxes, you have an influence on your community. You have a positive influence on your community. And think about it, most people in the world do not go out to start small businesses. And the world needs you. And what I want to be able to talk about when I talk to lawyers like this, and this group is different from like if I was going to a Virginia State bar, like I would never even accept the invitation anymore because it's too hard, because I can say this stuff and they're like cross-eyed to me, right? But to you all who are entrepreneurs, I can say this, and I can tell you that you are superior to most lawyers because you're here. You're investing your time, your energy, and your money to get better at doing that. Something is very important for the world. I do not want to lower like the value that lawyers bring to the world, but you're making it better because you're building something great for yourself. You're building a great client experience, which is the thing that they remember more than the result that you get for them. Trust me, right? And you are, when you hire people, especially I have a bunch of youngins in our office, you hire them and you teach them leadership and you teach them marketing and branding and you make them so good that they could go out and compete with you, but you are so courageous and you build such a great firm that they don't want to go out and compete with you. That's magical. And so keep doing what you're doing. Richard and I have been friends for probably 15 or 20 years. We're in Dan Kennedy's highest mastermind group, investing a ton of money and a ton of time to go to crappy hotels in Cleveland, right? Where we would hang out 3 times a year for a total of about 9 days. So that's how we got to know each other. And Richard and I, it's very interesting because we kind of speak to the same market, the solo and small firm lawyers. And yet, in many respects, we're entirely different because he has this amazing analytical numbers, fractions, head math, DNA that makes me want to vomit because I have none of that, right? I'm a visionary. I'm a big idea guy. I'm a motivator. I'm an inspirer of things. Now, my son, Brian, much more like Richard. Brian and I together, like we are freaking unstoppable and we're building something very, very cool. All right. And this is my bits with the legal industry. This came an article last year in Virginia Lawyer, which is our journal in Virginia, that, you know, they have these, all these bar associations have the wellness campaign, right? And we're going to teach you how to pet kitty cats and do meditation and eat right. And I go, hello. What if we taught someone how to like make a lot of money, build a practice they like to go to, have people who love to come into the office and build a great client experience? And I go that, and they go, no, mandatory CLE 12 hours, but that shit, like, no, sorry, Rich, that stuff doesn't fly. Like, we need to teach people how to take better depositions. Oh my God. So I write letters back when I see these articles, and if you have one in your state and you don't want to be the one to write, like, send me the article, I'll write the letter. I go, you have it all wrong. This should not be the default in the industry that we are sad and depressed and suicidal. Like, why is that the default? Why don't you start teaching people like what Richard teaches you? And with me and some of these other thought leaders teach, oh no, like, We've never done it that way before. We can't do it. We're lawyers. We're special. We're not special. The client is the hero, not us. Here's a good quote if you haven't seen this one. James Mitchell, I have it on my whiteboard. The master of the art of living makes little distinction between his work and his play. He hardly knows which is which. He simply pursues his version of excellence at whatever he does, leaving others to decide whether he is working or playing. For him, he is always doing both. And what that means to me is you get to build your practice for you. You know what? For 20, 25 years, I litigated medical malpractice cases, right? I was good verdicts. It's stressful, flying all over the country, right? I don't do that stuff anymore. I discovered a different practice area about 20 years ago, and this is risk of disability stuff. It's a nationwide practice, almost all from my desktop, right? I built it my way. I don't care what anybody else says about what I should do. I certainly don't care what the bar says, what I should do. I build it for me. And when you build yours for you, and there's so many different flavors and ways to do this, right? And what you do is if you have some clarity about what that is, and you say to Richard, this is what I want to build, and this is where I am right now, he's going to help you get there. And your pod groups are going to help you get there. So I just want to give you permission to think that way, because the reality is we do not need more architects. We need more architects and designers, people like you, not more people who know how to hammer better. And by hammer better, of course, if you're in litigation, you need to know how to take a deposition. You need to know how to give an opening statement. You need to know how to draft an estate plan, of course, if that's what you're selling. But that's expected, right? It's easy to go buy that talent. So you can elevate yourself to do what you want to do. There's nothing particularly, look, I'm a good litigator. I was a good litigator. There's guys and gals who are better than me, right? But the marginal difference between me and whoever is the, quote, top in Virginia, it's not that much, right? It's not that much. We need you who are out creating businesses with happy people, because that energy spills over into your community and to your family. So here's what I ask myself a lot, and that's why I journal. Is what I'm doing energizing me? Do the people that I've invited in to work with me and the clients that I have allowed into my practice, do they energize me? Do you bring or suck energy from your family? And we'll make sure we can get all these slides to y'all. And you bring energy to the world. The pilot, the American Airlines pilot, who came out and instead of doing the announcement from the cockpit, came and told a couple jokes, kind of like Southwest Airlines, but like this dude in his phone, it's a small, like almost a commuter airplane from DC down to Charlotte. But he's bringing a little bit of energy into the world, which costs you nothing. You see these people out here in the hallway who are working and serving you. How many of you have asked them a question, talked to them, told them how much you appreciate them? It costs you nothing to do this, and you raise up the energy in the world, and you know what? It makes you feel better. Here's this is, I'm sure if you've read Think and Grow Rich and all the other books that Richard has recommended to you, and it's a formula I've taught my kids at the breakfast table and the dinner table forever and ever. It's like the one thing that we were 9 kids, obviously a lot of sports. The one thing we were very, very religious about is dinner, like trying our very, very best. Even if it was Kentucky Fried Chicken at a Little League, T-ball game or something, it was dinner together. Things happen to us for sure that we don't have any control over, right? And what we have 100% control over, and look, I can teach you this, and it's hard because I'm 65, it's taken me 65 years to get to where I am today. I have a total 100% control over how I think about the thing that just happened to me and how I'm going to respond. Stephen Covey's first habit, like being proactive, doesn't mean I'm going to do something before they ask me to do it. Being proactive means controlling that space between the stimulus or the circumstance that happens to you and your response to it. One of the things I'm going to give you on the break is the Ben Glass Law culture document that we give out to every employee and to every onboarded new employee. It's about 9 pages. I've never given it to anyone except for our employees and our great legal marketing upper level mastermind groups. I'm sharing it with you. You'd be interested to know that I'm not involved in the hiring process at all. The first time I meet a new hire is on day one of work, and either on day one or day two, they have a culture conversation with me. And we talk about work is good, work's a force for good. We talk about what our core values are. But I talk a lot about this, which is controlling that time and controlling what happens between the time something bad, some lawyer sends you a nasty email, or back in my younger days, the 5 o'clock fax on Friday, just to try to screw up your weekend. Well, it doesn't happen anymore. And sometimes it can be irritating because my wife, Sandy, will say, doesn't this make you mad? I go, no, it just is. It just is. I've tried, I've tried, and I'm very good at, I think now, just controlling that response and recognizing that, I was talking to Richard earlier, we've been through with some of the kiddos some really, really hard times. It seemed black and dark at the time, right? But you get through it. It's hardly anything is fatal. It may seem like it's really, really, you miss a statute of limitations. I've been sued before, like for stuff that we weren't good at and made mistakes with, all right? I'm still here. Nobody knows except you guys know. So here's my guys. Again, youngest is 21, the oldest will be 40. He's in practice with me. We have 5 biological children and 4 adopted from China. And I talk about this a little bit in the book. It's a very long story, but let me just give you a really quick highlight. After 4 kids, my wife, Sandy, says, I think we're called to adopt. I said, you're nuts. We have 4 kids and a dog. Our life is full. There was an 8-year gap between number 4 and number 5. After number 5 was born, Sandy says, I think we are being called to adopt. I said, you are crazy. We get invited to a Stephen Curtis Chapman concert. How many have ever been to a Stephen Curtis Chapman concert? Okay. One event can change the trajectory of your life. And that night, I heard the call. And Stephen was raising money for sponsorship. And I'm like, no, we're in. I hear it. I understand it. I went to my pastor. This was on a Friday night. On Sunday morning, I said to my pastor at the time, I said, I don't know if you've ever actually had a religious event, a religious experience. I think I just did. And so 18 months later, we're in China, adopting our first at 18 months. Went back a few years later, adopted a little girl at 6.5 years. And then went back later. There was a group advocating for older children. So it was an 11 and 12-year-old, David and Leah, and adopted them. And back then, China was much more open to adoption. So anyway, it's a long story, and I'm happy to share more parts of it. It's an interesting journey. I will say this. We have learned so much from our adopted kids. The first 5, very typical. Didn't have to go to school. Didn't go to teacher meetings, any of that stuff. It was easy. We were good parents. We had to relearn everything we thought we knew about parenting. Right? And we did. We sought out experts, and we went to events like this in the early childhood trauma world to understand brain science, try to understand how to respond. And it was deep, dark, hard, challenging. We almost gave up many times, but it's made us stronger. We know how to, Sandy and I communicate a lot better, by the way. 42 years this summer, right? One of us is still looking really good. Yeah. And now we've got 7 grandkids. And the cool part about being a grandparent is because we're all a sports family. I grew up playing. And now I just got to show up. I don't have to line the field. I don't have to set up the nets. I don't have to blow the balls. I don't have to coach. I bring my granddad chair. Sandy and I go, and we go. If we have to leave early to get to the next kid's game, we leave early and get to the next kid's game. So I am, as you probably know, I'm a soccer referee. I'm in my 49th year of refereeing soccer games. I still do high school games. I told Richard I can come, but it means I'm probably missing an assignment. I got a game Saturday morning. And it gets hard to recover. I wrote a book last year called You, a Teenage Soccer Referee. So is there anyone here by chance who has a teenager who is a soccer referee? Anybody? We have 2. Do you have my book yet, Dan? I sent it to you. Here, I have a copy for your child. Why don't you come on up? What's your name? Joe, come on up. So this is, and of course, it's nothing about the rules of the game. It's about the mindset. What do you do for the first time in your life when someone who's not your mom, your dad, your teacher, or your coach is yelling at you, telling you know what you're doing? And how do I get that kiddo to come back for game number 2 and season number 2? So everything Ben does is wrapped around mindset and making your life better. And then 6 years ago, we discovered CrossFit. Talking about a tribe, you have your special acronyms and your words. CrossFit has acronyms and words and it's tribal and it's expensive. One of the things about joining, a mastermind group, a group like this, is you invest. But when you invest a lot of money, you invest a lot of money per month in a gym, what do? You show up. You do stuff. You get coaching. You want to get better. You don't want to be an idiot, like investing monthly into something and then not doing it. So that's my life. I'm a lawyer, but I'm really just an entrepreneur who happens to be a lawyer and who has spent, and we still spend a ton of money every year investing in ourselves, in coaching, both executive coaching, business coaching. So one of the things, so I'll tell you a little bit about the law firm. We only do two things. We do car crash cases in Virginia. And then 20 years ago, I discovered by accident, because I didn't know what it was, and I took the first case, this ERISA benefit cases, mostly in the eastern half of the United States, most of our cases in Virginia. We file more cases than the next three law firms in our region combined. We file 3 times as many cases, as all as number 2, number 3, and number 4 combined. We're market leader there. We've got 4 lawyers, 11 staff. We hired a new lawyer in June. You're doing something right when you have lawyers in the community who say, the next time you have an opening, I've heard this is a cool place and I would like to come and get on this rocket ship. All right, that is a cool place to be. That tells you you've built something where the culture is good. And I'll tell you in this talk a little bit of how we do that. We are fans of EOS, Entrepreneur Operating System, the book Traction, and the book Get a Grip, if you don't know anything about that. So we invest a lot of money in the coach that we have for that program, which means that we are meeting every single week. We have a 90-minute leadership meeting. Every quarter, we have a full 1 day. We do it in our own training center, actually. And every year, we have 2-day offsite annual. It is the best friggin' thing we have ever done to have someone come in to facilitate discussion about team health. Who are you? Tell me your backstory. What have we done in the last year? Where do we want to go? How can we get there? What do we need to do? So that at our 90-minute weekly meetings, half of the time at those meetings is spent because our goals are so big. We'll do about $4.3 million this year, $0.3 million in 25 and $14 million in 27. And we know that because we know exactly what he teaches, like I've learned it, even though I can't do head math, right? We know how many leads we need to get. We know the value of our cases, what our average case value is. And so half the time in our weekly meetings is spent on who are the people and the infrastructure and the technology, what we will need when I'm 70 in 2027. And people say, well, when will you retire, Ben? So like, I retire from stuff I don't like to do and people I don't like every single day. I like what I do. And I call what I do, I put a fine icing on a really fine cake made by others. So a guy in my church asked me the other day, he said, what do you do? And I said, I'm a life coach. He goes, no, he said, really? Like, you're a lawyer? Like, what do you do? I said, no. Most of the time I spend with clients. So my clients are CEOs, entrepreneurs, lawyers, CFOs, high wage earners, business owners who have had now something happen to them and they have to tap their long-term disability insurance benefits, right? So we're good at that. We can help them figure out what they need to do next. And they often have complicated lives. But then my discussion, most of Ben's time is, okay, now what do you do with the rest of your life? You're 60, you're 50, you're gonna live to 90. And the question, what's your superpower? Like, let's scheme. And not everybody wants to do that. But for most of them, no one's ever talked to them this way. So even, and I represent a lot of the hard workers, right? The Amazon, StockFix, the FedEx guys and gals, UPS, hard jobs. Like, okay, you haven't been to college. You've been working this job for 15 years. It's hard work. You can't do it anymore because your back, your knees, or hips are bad. Cool. What's next? Because you do not want to be reliant on the insurance company for the rest of your life. And again, no one's ever talked to them like that. So I get to live a life where I'm having that discussion almost every day with my clients while doing almost no legal work except writing and editing briefs, meeting with my team, developing some strategies for the case, answering the questions they have. Now, we didn't just think about it on day one. It didn't just happen on day 2. It's a lot of work, right? It's hiring the right people. It's developing systems, everything that Richard and Michael are teaching you, okay? But what I'm showing you is a vision of where you can get to if you want to go. And most of the lawyers I talk to when they come into our organization, they're like, no, I always want to be a lawyer. I want to be a lawyer. I want to keep doing this stuff, which is fine. Most of them end up elevating. They realize if I can replace the legal skills of Ben and make 4 Bens and have a business where we're attracting only clients that we like, right? Now, how awesome and how much of an impact can we make on the community? We'll make a lot of money. That's important. Like don't have in your head like money doesn't matter. That's BS, right? Money opens up a lot of doors. So, and I used to have this in my head. Well, I'm not really that concerned about money. And my mindset coach said, first thing we do is get rid of that stuff, right? Because that is a limiting belief that's really now in retrospect, like he was absolutely right.
Hey guys, this is Ben. If you like what you've been hearing on this podcast, not just the marketing and practice building strategies, but the philosophy of the art of living your best life parts, you should know that my son Brian and I have built a tribe of like-minded lawyers who are living lives of their own design and creating tremendous value for the world within the structure of a law practice. We invite you to join us at the only membership organization for entrepreneurial lawyers that is run by 2 full-time practicing attorneys. Check us out at greatlegalmarketing.com.
So we don't take ourselves too seriously. So the sign on the left is in the form of an eye chart. Well, why do we do that? We're in the 2nd floor. There's not a lot of people, but the guy across the hall is an eye doctor. That's $100 for that phone over there. Or 100 push-ups, your choice. So we have an eye doctor, and on some days, the eye doctor is putting 250 people through his office, like more than anybody else in the building. So my marketing director, we were riffing on this one day at our weekly meeting. Like, all right, let's just make a funny poster for the front, an eye chart. Now, it is funny. They love it. The problem is the eye folks get off the elevator and they see that and they think we're the eye doctor. So they're walking through our door. But that's okay too. That's okay too, because we have self-declared ourselves the mayor of the building, right? Everybody knows us. We know the name of every person who works cleaning the trash and doing the engineering. They come to our office whenever we have events. There's food, there's lunch, come. Hey, we got leftover stuff. You're the 6 o'clock cleanup crew overnight. We got a bunch of pizza. Just go eat it, right? Like it costs us nothing to put that positive energy into the world. That's our dress code. I had Ashley Rollins on my Renegade Lawyer podcast. He sent me a nice t-shirt. So that's actually an Ashley Rollins Car Crash Ash from San Diego t-shirt. But that's how we dress mostly, right? Is t-shirts. And core values on the back. That's actually old. We've refined them, as you will do if you're doing core value work appropriately. And now, this is interesting because, again, Brian and I are part of a CrossFit gym that we love the owners, and COVID was really hard for gyms. And so as it came out of COVID, we said, look, we want to help you. Like we're financially, like we're good. So we started buying memberships, guest memberships from the gym, paying full freight for them, a win for the gym. Okay. But then taking those memberships and running contests to our tribe, print monthly newsletter, not email newsletter, print monthly newsletter. Okay. So win there because people that we introduced to the gym, some of them have stayed and joined, gotten stronger, right? We said to the gym, like, you got all this space. You have a wall here. We gave them a check. Like, here's a check and a banner. Put it on your wall and I'm going to teach you how to sell the whole wall. So that's it. That's things you get in here. You get all this business advice in here, and you look around at other businesses in your community, and most of them are crappily run businesses run by people who like the thing, like run by people who like teaching gym or making cakes, and they don't know anything about what you know here. It's a great way to build your tribe, build your relationships, become an influence in the community by doing something that you're good at. Because again, you're playing in the 1% here. Right? And if you develop a practice that has lots of profits, you have money, you can do stuff like this. So this is our new banner there, right? Fighting insurance companies is our cardio. This is a couple things that we've hanging up. So this is what we do pay attention to. So we are the unlawyers. Everybody thinks that we're friendly, and we are. My team is trained to be friendly and to say yes to as much as we can say yes to. We believe you were built to thrive. So that's from Casting Crowns, another one of the bands that I follow. If they're playing, I'm buying a front row seat, right? In our area. A couple of years ago, Brian and I we're doing the exercise. We think, why does your firm exist? Like, what is your real reason for being? And what do most lawyers who are in the PI space say? Oh, we're here to get you all the money you deserve, to fight for justice and to fight the insurance companies, right? But this is internal. And Brian and I said, not us. I mean, no, that's not really why we're doing this. We're doing this to build a place where people will thrive. Again, it has to be good for the owners and the owners' families. It has to be good for your team. I've had people who come to work for me in the last place they worked, they would cry on Sunday night because they were going into a really toxic environment to work. When you come to work for us, you're gonna grow up. Like, and if you don't fit that mold, you're probably not getting through the interview process. But we're gonna help you achieve your goals. I have a lot of kiddos who are, some are finishing college, some are in law school, some are thinking about going to law school, and then I have an older cohort. We're always, by our onboarding process, by our interview process, by the culture talk they have with me, we're like, I don't want this to just be a job for you. There's lots of lawyers you could go work for. I want this to be a place that will drive energy into you, and you will put energy into it. And the hardest part about that is, one, they've never had anyone talk to them like that before. Two, if they have, it's been a lie. It's been just a sign on a board, right? It hasn't had meaning. And you all have this unique, wonderful opportunity to change the world one person at a time. By making this, or by thinking deeply about why you're actually doing what you're doing. And I'm just going to suggest, again, I don't tell you what you need to believe, but I'm going to suggest that just being a lawyer and providing good legal services is not that special. There's a lot of good lawyers. There's lawyers who are better than every one of you and better than me out there, right? It's not that special. But if we can put positive energy into the world, then the world will repay us. The other thing we have, we put our goals up. We put this right in our kitchen, where every defense lawyer, and their lives are miserable, can see it and go, what is that? Well, read it, where our team knows what we're trying to get to. So this was put up several years ago. I'll tell you another thing we did when we first started doing EOS and setting big goals for 3 and 5 years down the line. The numbers that we were putting on the board were like, how does that make you feel? That's scary. Like, well, how are we going to get there? We surpassed it. We blew past those numbers last year. And when we were at our annual and we had a couple new people in our leadership team, and we were setting these big, audacious 14 million in 5 years goals. And we asked the new people, how does this make you feel? And they said, scary. Like, how are we going to do that? And Brian and I were able to say, you know what? That's the same feeling that we had 4 years ago when we started this journey. And so from our standpoint, setting the intention and being as clear as you can on the intention where you want to be is the most important variable here. And what happens is when you start to set intentions, is that little birdie, until you get your brain thinking right, the little birdie says, I'm not smart enough, I don't have enough money, I don't know how to do that, right? You won't be the first one on this journey, all right? You set clearly the intention and ask the universe for what it is you need. And I know this sounds woo-woo, but I can just tell you that it is true. It's been true for us. The world will send you answers. They'll send you the right people, the right circumstances, the right coaches, the opportunities. I mean, you come in here and by random, you're in these little groups. You don't know who the people are going to be, but somebody in that group is farther along than you are. Somebody in that group you can reach down and lift up. So that is a huge value of things like this group here. Okay, how do we do this? It's not about the marketing. So Mengaz is the marketing guy, but it's not about the marketing. It turns out marketing is a relatively easy problem to solve. Like, it's formulaic. If you know what you're doing, if you stop all the leaks in the bucket, like, marketing is a formulaic thing. But you got to start thinking about this and having clarity. Again, for us, it's not about the justice and not about the money per se inside. If we're building a place where every decision we make inside the law firm, from hiring to processes to firing, is about whether we're building a place that will help the owners' families, and the folks who work here thrive, then that's how we make decisions. Build a great place where people will thrive. We had a week or 10 days ago, we had our we will have our quarterly leadership meeting, and then we'll bring our team in. One of the things I did was very smart. So Richard and I are in another mastermind group together where we are the attendees. We're in Nashville to a friend of ours, Robin Robbins. Robin has this training center built into her office. I looked around and go, holy crap, like this is a really good idea. I don't know how we'll ever get it, where it would be, will I be able to afford it, all these things. This is many years ago. We have it. So we built out the Ben Glass Center for Growth and Innovation. We built out our space, 42-seat training center. So we do events for ourselves. We do events for Great Legal Marketing, but we also just say to the community, hey, you need a place? We have knitters that come in, the Boy Scouts, referee groups. We have the other offices in the building that they don't have enough space to have their own leadership meetings. Come use our space for free. Come clean it up on the way out, right? Again, we're the mayors of the building. But Vic was a magician. I had a magician come in, and he was really good. And so he does this 45-minute act. Of course, we're like, okay, now we want to know about the business. Like, tell us, how'd you get into this thing? He says, I've done the act thousands and thousands of times. It's not about the, it's about the relationships. Acts allow me, my what does he call it? His illusions. His illusions allow him to create. And so same thing, nobody's business is different. It's all about relationships. Okay, so here's my value proposition. It's the same thing I'm teaching you, what I've taught my children. And what I teach youngins, anybody who will come to me. I run this thing called Lunch with Ben. I say you should go check this out and do it in your own community. Lunchwithben.com allows anybody to have a virtual or a live lunch with me. Here's the cost. You bring the sandwich or you pay for the sandwich. If you're a lawyer, you got to join Great Legal Marketing. But if you're a business owner, come here. If you're a youngin', we do it for free. Anyway, I teach them this. Put value into the world first, okay? The world doesn't owe you anything. I don't care if you spent $300,000, whatever it costs to go to law school. I don't care how hard you work. I don't care about your background. The world doesn't owe you anything, okay? You have to put value into the world first. I know that's countercultural. That's why they don't let me speak at some places. Like I go to or high schools. Got to put value into the world first. Oh no, like they got to pay me $20 an hour minimum wage. You're an idiot. Okay. Train your mind to see the positive. Catherine Pond, there are many good books on this. I actually have a book. I don't know if you've seen this. It's called The Prosperity Bible. It's a big blue book. It's a collection of all these works from about 80 to 120 years ago. Catherine Ponder's Dynamic Laws of Prosperity. This sounds woo-woo the first time you get into it. I will tell you that it does. But when you read work after work after work after work of these old, forgotten authors, right, your mind will start to change. And so my gift and my curse is this. I see everything in a positive way. I'm a 15 on a scale of 1 to 10 in terms of positivity, which is why they don't let me in the hiring process. Because I think I take, you're like a C-. Like I'm thinking, I can make you into a superstar. They go, no, Ben, you stay in your corner office. We'll hire them. We'll hire good ones and you'll build them up. You control 100% how you see the world. There are mean people out there, right? I can say, like, you can go to Politico and go, the party is destroying America, and you wouldn't know which party I'm talking about. I think I would be true, okay? All right. You must prioritize yourself. Don't feel guilty about this. Ever. Don't ever feel guilty about prioritizing yourself. It's not selfish. It's necessary. You are the racehorse. You're the entrepreneur. If you're not healthy, wealthy, fit, spiritually grounded, emotionally grounded, it just makes everything else harder. No client wants to come and hire a lawyer who's on the verge of bankruptcy. Nobody wants to come work for a lawyer for any length of time who's an emotional nutcase. You will live longer and you'll be happier if you do the things and take the time through study, through being in rooms like this with people who are doing things bigger, better, faster than you are, through staying physically fit. CrossFit is hard work. I'm like one of the oldest guys in the gym. I scale everything, right? I don't care. There's women who can lift like twice as much as me. Another rule, like don't look around what everyone else is doing and try to do what they're doing. Like try to be a little bit better every single day yourself. Put yourself first. If you ever have any emotional baggage about that, reach out to me. I will help you with this. The world needs you and the world needs you to be good. The other thing is question everything. So one of the things I'm known for, and I got this from the Glazer Kennedy world, is asking ourselves, well, who made that rule? So in the marketing sphere, lawyers will come to me and goes, well, we can't do that in my state because the ethics rules say blah, blah, blah. I go, oh, really? Okay, number one, have you ever read it? Well, no, but I heard. Okay, number two, cut and paste, send it to me. Where does it say that? Okay. All right, is there a workaround? Who made the rule? Is it really a rule? So questioning everything doesn't mean you have to reject everything, but we're all about changing the status quo, right? There's no rule that says just because lawyers have done something for the last 100 years that we have to keep on doing it that way for the next 100 years. And that's the establishment. The establishment wants you to keep doing things. This is interesting because I was having a conversation with my friend Dan Lear. You know, one of the things everyone's looking at probably is AI. And, you know, there's all these lawyers that are freaking out about AI, like, well, I won't have a job. And the Bar Association is starting to come out with some articles about the dangers of AI. And we're like, oh, this is awesome. Like, whoever masters this, whoever can get Richard Matthews was showing you, and he was telling me last night, so you gotta have a drink with him about just the podcast production. A single idea, and now the computers do all the rest. It's amazing. So whoever leverages AI is going to win. Yes, if you're a lawyer who makes money drafting contracts by the hour or reading lots of documents by the hour, you might be in trouble. All right? Systematize everything except the edges. I've had people come to me, I don't want to be like a system. I don't want to be like McDonald's. Like, I personally serve clients. That's BS. It's just not true. It's just not true. You are hired for the edge. You are hired to be the strategist that says, what is the problem that we're really trying to solve in your life? And how can I help you solve that problem? Again, it's very easy for you to hire and retain talent that can do the legal. What the world needs you to do is to be the thinker at the edges. Same thing for your business. You can hire people to do your accounting, to do your marketing, to do your podcast, to do all this stuff. You systematize all that. So you're not doing it, because as soon as you get on a keyboard, you're going down a rabbit hole. You all know it, right? And spend that time in deep thought. Cal Newport's book, awesome. Another one, if you haven't read Deep Thought, it's one of my annual rereads. And work at the edges. Apply your experience, knowledge, expertise at the edges. Pay for speed. All right. So while I was here on a break, I bought like $2,000 worth of clothes from the guys out there. And I thanked them. I said, I hate clothes shopping. I trust you because you're here at Richard's event. And so he must trust you. And in 25 minutes, I'm going to have my next season's outfit for stuff. You have saved my life. All right? Whenever you can, know that there is somebody who is both capable of, interested in, and a lot better than you are at doing whatever is the thing. Yes, because we're entrepreneurs and we're tinkerers, we like to learn how can we do the website? How can we build a podcast from scratch? I think it's okay to kind of learn this the first time. I built a deck once. It was cool. Now I pay for decks at my house, right? Dan Sullivan is great on this, the book, Who Not How, Strategic Coach. It's no, go hire the best in the world for 90 days or 6 months or whatever, have them do the thing, watch what they're doing, and now you and your team will be able to do it. So pay for speed and expertise and be generous with that. So I'm the guy who gets hives. I never go in Home Depot. I'm not a tool guy. Get me on the roof? Are you crazy? I will 5x pay somebody who can come and get on the roof, and I'm able to do that. I make their life better, and I don't have the stress of trying to figure out how to get down from the roof down the ladder. All right? So that's a core philosophy. Your role, I believe now, is to acquire great talent and let them run. The thing that holds us back and held me back a lot was nobody could do this as good as I can. I'm writing ERISA, niche, briefs, federal court, all this litigation. Nobody could write briefs as good as I can. How can I ever scale the business? My coach, my mindset coach, Sammy Chong, says, how do we know? I think you're wrong. And he was right and I was wrong. So now I get to put fine editing icing on a very fine briefs built by others. All right? Your team is everything. The team wants to work with superstars. You have to be ruthless about your hiring. We believe ruthless about the first 90 days right? Where if I don't like you, you're gone. If you don't like me, you're gone. Like that's just the way it's going to be. And they know that coming in so that, they know what the terms of the deal are. Your team wants to work with superstars. And every time that we have dismissed somebody because either they were never a culture fit and we didn't realize it, or they became a non-culture fit. Because here's one thing, people that get you to a certain level are not going to be the people to get to the next level. You accept that, you're the business owner, this is life. It's not good or bad, it's just life. Every time we've gotten rid of someone, the team is like, dude, how could you be so stupid? Like, why were they here? Like, you should have got rid of them 6 months ago. All right, so do you have that team, right? Go through. So a bad thing about coming to a Ben Glass event is people get fired on Monday. The second bad thing is when you bring so if you're a team member and you hear my live your life the way you should live your life and do your thing, is they quit sometimes. You have to live with that. You can't have the good without having the bad, right? So again, a couple things here in my last minute. We're ruthless with bad clients, so you disrespect my team. You get one lecture from me and then you're gone. We always back the team. And here's the best question you could ever. Like, if you don't take anything else away from this conference, write this one question down. It'll help you in your marriage relationships, your business partnerships, and with clients, and with your team. How can we make this perfect for you? Okay? We ask that of everybody, and we ask it all the time in our team. How can we make this perfect for you? Now, I tell them, I can't guarantee that I can make it perfect, but I'll tell you this. If you haven't thought of what would be perfect for you working for Ben Glass, and you haven't communicated that to me, then what are we working towards? I want to foster a place where you love coming to work, all right? In order to do that, I need you to be honest with what would be perfect. I say that to my spouse, my business partner. We do JV relationships. Like if I'm doing a JV relationship with a vendor or a sponsor, I'm like, I want to make you millions of dollars. Like, how do we do that for each other? Anyway, there's a bunch more. I'm going to give you, if you're an employee or you have employees, give them these 2 books, The Earning Advantage by Jill Young, Linchpin by Seth Godin. It's all about teaching the employee how to make more money, increasing value to the firm, all right? So, fire fast, and just be around people who get it. Look, the work we do is hard. I get it. Being a business owner is hard. It is not as hard as the Amazon guy who's driving all day long delivering packages. Being in a room like this is the most valuable thing, I believe, the most valuable thing you can do for your life. Again, there's somebody here who's, whatever question you have has already been answered. Richard said it earlier, like when he knew stuff, we repackage it. And he and I are in the inspiration world. There's somebody in your room, in your group, in your pod who knows the answer. And there's somebody over here who's newer, who's struggling, for whom you can help. If we would just kind of look at the world that way, be very humble, ask lots of questions, and be free with the wealth we built up, the knowledge we built up, the world gets better. We're doing it through the instrument of running a law practice, so that's neat. We make money with our brains.
If you like what you just heard on the Renegade Lawyer podcast, you may be a perfect fit for the great legal marketing community. Law firm owners across the country are becoming heroes to their families and icons in their communities. They've gone renegade by rejecting the status quo of the legal profession so they can deliver high-quality legal services coupled with top-notch customer service to clients who pay, stay, and refer. Learn more at greatlegalmarketing.com. That's greatlegalmarketing.com.